There we go. All right. Cool. Yeah. I'm screen recording this. That way it goes on my YouTube channel. People can fall asleep to it. All that stuff. So. All right. So let me just kick this off with one of my stories, because I would love to hear your inputs on it. So, Ryan, this happened on the BHR. Words on Cups. Welcome back, brother. All right. So, I was stationed in Japan, Sasebo, Japan, and excuse me. I was stationed in Sasebo, Japan, and oh my goodness, my brain's all over the place right now. Ugh. Stationed in Sasebo, Japan, and I was just to put it in simple terms, my job title was basically a flight deck firefighter, as well as chalking and chaining aircrafts. Um, but usually ranks that are lower enlisted, they go through this period called cranking, and basically just us helping the cooks out during a rotation. So it just happened to be my turn on the rotation, and I got lucky to be picked to work at the in the officer ward, helping serve them food, as well as maintaining their hallways, maintaining their offices, their bedrooms, all that stuff. So. And there's only a handful of officers compared to the amount of enlisted that are on board. So this was like the best thing that can happen to someone that's cranking. So this is during the time of the year where there's not many people on the ship, and yeah, hey Sean, yeah, there's not that many people on the ship, and it's almost like a skeleton crew. So it was my duty day, and I went up to the officer ward, and I relieved the guy that was on duty the night before, and he gives me the master key card to every officer room in the officer ward. And he goes, bro, have fun. So, what do I do though? Hold on, Cranky was a pain for a while. I had to clean the chief's sleeping area, CMC's living. Cranky was not fun, bro. But yeah, so he gave me the master key card to every officer room. Hey, Carrie. And so what do? I go into the Marine Executive Officer's bedroom, and it's a hotel room compared to what us enlisted sleep in. Now, keep in mind, there are no Marines on board. No Marine officers, nothing. So I'm doing great, Jessica. How are you? So there's no one here but me. I'm the only one in the officer ward. So take my gear off, and I'm just laying down in that bed. So a couple of minutes go by, and I start hearing what sounds like chatter. Okay, there shouldn't be anyone here at all, period. So I put my gear back on, and I went to inspect the halls, and there was nobody there. I did a couple of laps inspecting, and there was nobody there. Like, it sounded like two people going over plans or something. So I'm like, okay, there's no one here. So I went back to the bedroom and laid down. So I start hearing that same chatter, but this time it sounds like it's closer. It sounds like it's coming from the room right next to me, which is the Marine commanding officer's bedroom. So I'm like, okay, this is kind of intimidating, but Well, I'll just tell him that no one should be in there. So I put my gear back on and I went to go check out, go to the door. I opened the door and it was pitch black. There's nobody there. Okay, this is kind of weird. It's getting creepy a bit. Okay. So I returned to the bedroom and at this point, I'm just passing it off as, you know what, it's probably just chatter coming from below decks and it's just traveling through the vents. I'm just hearing it right here. So that makes sense. Lay down, and I'm not even asleep yet. I'm not even asleep. But a couple of moments go by. Now, let me put this out there. I'm not a medium. I don't see things. I don't hear things. I'm not clairvoyant. I'm not clairaudient. Clear as day, I hear this voice on the right side of my ear. And it said these two words. Excuse me, it said these words. 2 little girls. Now, pause real quick. How many of you have seen The Grudge or The Ring? At the foot of the bed is what appears to be 2 twin girls resembling Samara from The Ring. They both had messy hair in front of their faces. I couldn't see their faces. They had unalived gray, blue, cracking skin. And they were both wearing maroon colored dresses. I blink and they're chest level to me. At the same time, they both start choking me. Not exactly trained to handle something like this, like period in life, you know? Let alone the military. So, I'm terrified of what I'm seeing. No, it's not sleep paralysis. And I barely mustered the energy just to yell out, "Leave me alone." And the next moment, they were gone. And me, I'm just like, okay, I'm just dismissing it as just a bad dream. I put my head back down, and not even a second later, that same voice from earlier said my name. Now, keep in mind, this all happened on a Navy ship. Anyway, I packed my stuff and I took off from that room. I never went back there again. And I'm glad you didn't die, Ryan. But that's one of my stories, guys. Yes, I was terrified. That was the only time in my life I've ever seen an entity while awake. Entities, excuse me. Yeah. The rest of my experiences have been like 2 accidental astral projections and a couple sleep paralyses, and one that was I got attacked from behind. So, but yeah, that's one of my stories right there. If any of you have a story you want to share, go ahead and just click the guest button down below in the middle. It's either right here or right here, depends on your formatting. And it'll say guest, and it'll send me a guest request. That way we can bring you guys on. Question, what ship? Where is it located and how can I stay there? It's decommissioned now and it's reduced to rubble. It was the USS Bonhoeffer Shard, LHD-6. It is reduced to rubble and I'm happy about that, in my opinion. So anyway, another thing I do too, guys, is I do narrations of ghost stories that people send me. Scorpio Star, by all means, come on board. I would love to have you as a guest. I do also do narrations, so if If you have a story you want me to narrate, DM it to me and I'll get started. This live is going on till 7:46 PST. All right. Hey, Nix. Scorpio Star. Welcome. There we go.
Did it come in? How are you?
Hey. Welcome.
Thank you for sharing my dad's story. It was amazing.
I'm
He
glad
was
you
really
liked
happy.
it. Like, I
Yeah.
was legit
You made
not-
us like both tear up.
I was at Starbucks and I'm just like, I want to approach the story with respect and sensitivity.
Yes.
So, but yeah, no, it was a privilege. It was a privilege.
It was great. I just wanted to go first about, remember the first one I showed you with the haunted house? I wanted to elaborate more because I left a lot of things out. I didn't realize until after the fact. My dad told me. So I said a glass. I meant to say it was a cross that fell off the wall and broke into a million pieces. It was a glass cross. And also my dad said one day, because he was always drinking at that time, he said one day the glasses were shattered. Like they were shaking the whole house, like in the glasses. And he was trying to convince my aunt and my mom it was an earthquake. But it wasn't.
Wow.
And he's like, yeah, that house was haunted for sure. And yeah, as far as Saratoga, it's a real place. You guys could look it up if you guys haven't been there. It's like a psychic actually told me one time it's like a vortex, like an evil vortex. Like I have seen a lot of stuff too working at the track at night. Like one night I was doing security and I was a little brat, so I got to sleep all night because I knew my dad's bosses for like my whole life because he was working there for 45 years. So I used to get paid to sleep at night. So I just had to keep the the thing by my ear, the walkie-talkie. So one night I'm in the women's dorm because people do live on the track, because they take care of the horses. So I'm in the women's dorm and I'm sleeping on the couch, and all of a sudden I see a lady. And she looks like somebody essayed her, and she was all full of blood, and she had a white dress on.
Yeah.
And she was looking at me, and she was full of blood, and I jumped up, and there was nobody there. And I was like, oh my God, whatever. Like, I knew something happened. Like, I just knew, like, in my heart something happened. And I didn't say anything to nobody. And then 3 days later, one of the girls pulled me aside and said, hey, can I ask you a question? When you're here at night, do you hear a lady crying? I'm like, no, what are you talking about? Because I'm not about to tell you what I saw, I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, no, me and a couple of the girls swear somebody got, unalived in here. Because, like, we always hear a lady crying. I was like, oh, okay. And then when I was working in a different part of the track at night, there was the rec hall, and I would leave the gate to go to the bathroom. And I would go to the rec hall, and I noticed I worked at that rec hall in the daytime. I did security there in the daytime, nothing. But every time at night I would go in there, I would hear screaming in my head. Like 2 little kids screaming. So, turns out, I told my dad, there was a little boy that drowned. There was a pool back there that I forgot about. And they closed it down because a little boy drowned it in there. And then across the street, it's something called the Yaddo. And it's where artists go to, like, I think Vincent Van Gogh was there at one point, too. It's like this beautiful piece of property. And they said a little girl drowned in the Yaddo. So, yeah. It's fun being a medium, but it's also scary at the same time. But I just want everybody to know there's really nothing to be scared about. It's like... It's nice, but it's scary.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being here. I mean, you already know this, but I have a lot of respect for mediums because especially that you made it this far. I'm proud of you because you can't just exactly talk to anyone about this kind of stuff right here, and you can't just go to the shrink and be like, hey, this is what's going on. They're just going to put you on medications, that are just going to mess you up. So.
Exactly. So. I've been like this since I was a kid, though. My aunt that passed away, the one that the board told her she was going to pass away, she had the same gifts as me. She just never was out there with them. But since I was a little kid, she always told me it was okay to have these gifts. So I owe her a lot for that.
I'm glad she told you that. I'm glad you're here with us. Really.
Thank
So yeah,
you. Thanks for having
of
me.
course. Take care, and I
Yeah.
will. I'll ring your bell if I need more stories. All right.
Yes, I got plenty. Thank you. Bye bye.
Take care.
Take care.
All right. Cool. Yeah, guys, if you have a story that you want to tell, go ahead and just hit the guest button, and it should send me a guest request. That's not. Don't call that number. That's only if you're going through a mental health crisis. So, good evening. All right, Missy, you're up next.
Hi, how are
Hi,
you?
Missy. Thank you for being here. How old are you?
I'm 46, gonna be 47.
Perfect. All right. Thank you for bearing with me.
I like to look at things at a different point of view,
Real
and I
quick.
hope we can, just,
Real quick.
agree that we all believe differently.
Real quick.
I'm
Real quick.
Christian.
Real quick. Real quick.
Okay,
Real quick.
sorry.
Um, try not to cuss like FDFF here and there. It's not gonna take down my live by the AI. And also try not to get too preachy. That being
What do
said,
you mean? Okay, can you explain that? I don't know that word. What's preachy?
preachy meaning like according to the gospel.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
like
get you now. Okay,
yeah.
okay,
It's
so we
okay to have
believe different.
religion. It's okay to have religion, but like not to a point where it's like you're trying to convert people or get too
No,
fanatical.
I'm not. Not at all.
Hmm.
I respect everyone and their beliefs. I love everyone. Um,
It's all you.
my story goes back. Someone told me to look into the Hat Man, and I was like, but he didn't have a hat.
Hmm.
But I looked into it. I Googled it, and it's worldwide, and it was just like, oh my goodness. So back in 2013, I was deeply into the Bible,
Hmm.
and then I went through some hurt. And then one night, laying in my bed, 2013, I experienced what's called I was awake but sleep paralysis. There was this cloaked figure with a black cloak that came to me without moving its mouth. It looked human, but like gray, and dark and tall. And without moving its mouth, it said, "Will you surrender?" And to this day, I'm still wondering, what did it mean? And I couldn't move. I could look. I could see my bedroom. I could see my husband next to me. But for the life of me, I guess fear, I couldn't move to wake him up. So I started praying in my head.
Hmm.
Lips went numb, like everything, like intense fear, intense, so intense where your lips go numb, you can't breathe. Then I feel like I fainted. I woke up the next day, told my husband about it, and I was like, I think there was a demon in here. And then I met another person like you, and they were like, have you looked into the Hat Man? And I did. And he doesn't always appear in a hat. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is a worldwide phenomenon.
Hmm.
And that was the first and only time it happened to me, but it was terrifying nonetheless.
Yeah, no kidding. It's funny regarding the Hat Man. I didn't start hearing about him until about 2023, and at first these phenomenons were coming through were people that were alleviated on a certain substance that you can buy over the counter. But since I started doing TikTok lives, I've been hearing about the Hat Man during sober experiences, which is interesting. I always call it
I
the Hat
was,
Man strikes again. But
yeah, I
yeah,
was sober. I
I
was
believe you.
sober. I
I
heard
believe you.
Benadryl or some kind of allergy medicine can cause it. I was completely sober.
Hmm.
There was no cause for it except that I was going through things in life. I was heavily devoted to my
Scorpio storm.
stuff, and there he was, but with a hat, black cloak,
Hmm.
spoke. I mean, spoke without moving his mouth from his mind to mine, and I was completely paralyzed. But I knew I was awake. I knew it, and I'll unalive on that hill to testify about it. I know what I saw, and I know what happened. And when I got up the next morning, and told my husband about it. I was shaking him. I was like, oh my gosh, you won't believe what happened to me. This thing in a cloak, it came into the bedroom. The bedroom looked exactly the same. It was standing there. It nearly hit the ceiling. It was so tall. It looked like a man, but not a man. And that's what it asked me. Will you surrender? And I still, to this day, ask myself, what did it mean?
Good question.
But never bothered me since. But then, get this. My sister has, and for years, has had what's called the old hag syndrome for years.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to her about a way to get delivered from it. And then that happened to me. It's almost like I was interrupting something I shouldn't have touched.
Okay. Interesting. All right.
But, yeah, I just want to share that. Let people know that, yeah, it's a worldwide phenomenon. And if anybody else has experienced Hat Man, he don't always wear a hat. Sometimes it's a cloak. I'd love to hear more stories about it.
Yeah.
And if anything was spoken to them, what did it say to them?
All right. Misty, thank you for being here. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right. You take care.
You too, hon.
All right. Up next, we have Lost Soul Digital Art, Ari, and then V. Marie.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
It's going great, man. Thank you for being here. How old are you?
How old am I?
Yeah.
34.
Perfect. Try not to cuss like FDFF. The AI won't take down my TikTok live if it's like here and there. Try not to get too fanatically preachy. It's okay to have religion. That being said, it's all you.
Yeah, that's fine. So I have a couple of experiences, but I just kind of want to go based off of what you and maybe chat might be most interested in. So if I can, maybe explain a couple and go off that.
Yeah, go for it. Take as long as you need to, too. There's no rush.
So I have a lot of weird experiences that I've had since, childhood and stuff. But one of the things that really blows my mind is I had an experience where I had an entity follow me for about 6 months straight, no matter where I went. There's one. The second one is sleep paralysis. An entity named Derek, who was a child-like being with long hair, who basically just said he wanted my soul. That's another one. And then lastly, probably the best one is when I was about 4 or 5 years old, my stepfather used to bring over cheesecake because he knew that we loved cheesecake. And couldn't have any that night, so he said, in the morning when you wake up, you can have cheesecake for breakfast, whatever. So I was super excited, and woke up the next day, and just walled my way over to the kitchen to get some cheesecake, and this ball of light came from the sky, straight down in front of the window, and then completely ripped the door open and formed into a man. But not just any man, a man of energy and only energy. And my mother was a witness, my father was a witness. We all saw it happen, so.
Wow. It's always those shared experiences are like, no, you saw that too, right? So, thank you for being here,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah, did you want to hear any other stories?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought you were done.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll get to the best one.
Yeah, go for it. Let me
So-
just get my water real quick.
So the day of the cheesecake, I guess I'll mention that one. My stepfather used to always come over and bring cheesecake and stuff, and it was a good thing that he did because he knew that we loved cheesecake and shit. So, sorry. My bad. And I woke up that morning. I was so happy. I'm like, man, I'm gonna get this cheesecake. You know, I love cheesecake. And then like, I got up and I started walking over. Mind you, I'm like 5 or 6 years old. And then like, I'm a little groggy, but I see like a blue light come from the sky. Because it was in the living room, so you could see the windows, so you could see the outside of the house. And this light came down real fast. It stopped right in front of the windows, and then it bashed into the door. The door was like a deadbolt locked, and everything. It was a very like strong door. Okay, so this light ripped through the door to a point where it like ripped off the hinges. So my mother jumped out of bed. My brother, my father, everybody jumped out of bed. We're like, who's breaking into the house? And then when I'm literally standing there in the kitchen watching this thing, and it formed from a ball of light, like almost like a electricity or something like that, like a plasma.
Yeah.
And then it formed into like a man of energy, and it was just like a body of a male being, but he was all energy. And his eyes were like two stars. Everything else was like electricity. And then he looked over at us and then walked straight down into the basement. Mind you, I had a lot of very, very severe, crazy paranormal experiences in that house. And I don't know what it was there for, but after he showed up, all that paranormal activity stopped. And there was a lot of situations with shadow people and all kinds of other things were happening in that house. But it was bizarre. And it wasn't up until recently I was talking to my older brother, who I hadn't talked to in a long time, and I was explaining this to him. I didn't even know he was there too. I didn't even know he saw what I saw. So as I was explaining the story, he's like, "You mean the energy man?" And I'm like, "Did you see it too?" So at that point, I'm like, "Bro, I'm not crazy. Like this really happened."
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's a crazy story.
Yeah. I never heard one like that before. Actually, funny. If you'd like me to, I'd be honored to narrate it. If you'd like me to make a whole TikTok video about it, I'll tag you, stuff like that, saying it's your story. So
Yeah, you can. And listen, dude, I have a lot of stories, and if you're interested, I'm also a paranormal researcher, so I do ITC research using AM/FM sweep radios and other devices that I've created using plasma balls and audio cords like aux cords and stuff like that. And I've actually been able to tap into, I guess, I don't know if you would call it the spirit world or interdimensional realities. But in my YouTube channel, if I can share that, if not, you can. I'll send it to you on a PM or something, a DM.
yeah.
And you'll see, like I've captured so many different things. Like it takes some people years to capture something like I've captured. Like for example, I had one capture where I went to a place in New York, Huntington, called Mount Misery. And the way I communicate with the entities is I always give like an open communication. So it doesn't matter whether you're a negative entity or a positive entity or human or non-human. If you want to communicate with me, I'm here. So speak. And anyway, so when I said that, I had multiple voices come through.
Wow.
So one of the things that I said was, I'm here just to learn about the purpose of my life and my existence on this planet as a human being. And then out of the radio comes a voice that says, existence is dimensional. Blew my mind. That's also on my channel. It's also on my website. And the weirdest thing about it is when I pronounced my name, I'm like, hello, I'm John, blah, blah, blah. And I swear, dude, you could see this on my channel. I had 5 different voices go, hey, John, hi, John, hey, John, hey, John, hi, John. And I'm... To this day, it gives me goosebumps. Out of the radio, bro. So this is called ITC research, which is inter-trans communication, which the way this works is that the spirits or entities, whether they're interdimensional or spiritual, because I'm not exactly sure yet. I can't tell you guys that they're ghosts because I don't know.
Yeah.
But the way it works is they use the radio wave frequencies to manipulate the audio that goes through the radio wave frequency to then communicate. So they'll take like sounds out of the radio or little bits and skits from the radio and communicate with you. So they'll answer you based on what they have available.
Yeah.
And on my channel, you'll see a lot of that. So yeah, man, if you want to listen, man, I'm trying to get the story out there because this is nothing compared to what I've actually been through, but just a couple of things, okay? So the channel's called Naked Eye Blind on YouTube. Naked Eye Blind. So
Everyone, give this guy a follow right here. Give him a follow. You don't hear
no,
about.
check it out, bro.
You don't
check
hear
it out.
about. Yeah, you don't hear about that kind of stuff, really. So thank
It's
you.
all there. So
All right, man. Well, if that's all, dude, thank you for the info and thank you for being here. Hold on real quick. I just gave you a follow.
thank you. I'm gonna follow you. I think I already followed you. Okay, I did.
All right, man.
All right, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Just check it out and DM me and let me know.
Sounds good, dude. Take care.
All right. You too. Bye.
Bye. Yeah, thank you for being here, bro. Okay, up next we have Ari and then Marie, and Joseph and Dead Crow. I see you. Real quick, just giving you guys a just giving you a reminder. I do ghost story narrations. I don't charge. I'm trying to build a demand here, and yeah, just DM me your story if you want it narrated. If you want to check out the quality, just go ahead and go to my recent uploads. And there's like about 8 videos now dedicated to stories that people have sent me. And just check it out and see if it's to your liking. If you're interested, then just go ahead and DM me a story and I will narrate it and get started. Awesome, Lost Soul. Follow that guy. Lost Soul Digital Art. All right, up next we have Ari. For sure, Goddess Nix, take your time. Hi, Ari.
Hi,
Hi, quick question. How old are you?
I'm 19.
Perfect. Try not to cuss like FDFF here and there. It's not going to take down my life. And try not to get too religious. When I say that, I mean fanatical. That being said, it's all you.
Okay, I have 2, but they're relatively short. So, the first one has to do with my grandpa's house in Mexico. I went there last summer, and everyone says like the house was haunted, but I didn't believe anybody until like we were there. So the thing about my grandpa's house is that he built it himself. It's 2 stories. And obviously the grandkids come over from Mexico to the house because it's their grandparents' house.
Uh-huh.
And everyone's like, oh, it's so creepy. Like, we hear stuff, we feel weird. And then there's like a shed in the back that they love going to because they said it's so creepy. But my mom says that the reason that they probably feel like that is like, you know how when somebody doesn't necessarily have good intentions or they aren't welcome in the house, they'll feel it?
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's what they were feeling. And when we got there, we didn't feel anything. We felt fine. And I ended up sleeping in my grandpa's room, which I didn't know it was his room at the time. And so a couple, like, days before we were supposed to leave, and everyone, like, the cousins came over and they were telling ghost stories, like, oh, yeah, I heard this and this and this. And my mom said that when she was younger, she saw somebody at the foot of her bed, like, late at night.
Yeah.
And then on this particular day, for some reason, I was having trouble sleeping, and I woke up, and I don't even know what time it was. I think it was like maybe 4 a.m., and there's an upstairs, but nobody is up there. Like, it's locked for, like, a reason. And in the middle of the night, all of a sudden, I just hear something being dragged upstairs. Like, you can hear it, like, it was like, it sounded like a chair, or if, like, it was a table, but you could hear it, like, banging against, like, the floor.
Yeah.
And I heard that upstairs, and I heard like people, like somebody walking upstairs, and like it lasted for like maybe 10 minutes, just somebody dragging it. And then the next morning, I went to go look up there, and nothing was moved. Everything was the same, and obviously the door was locked. And then I went downstairs and I told my mom, and I was like, somebody was moving something upstairs, and I don't know who it was. So that kind of like scared me.
Did they hear the dragging too?
No, because I was the only one that was awake.
Wow, got it. Got it.
And then the second story has to do with my mom's house. So we moved. His name is Mr. Kim. That's what we call him. And when we first moved in, I guess we didn't know that like he died. I guess it was like a hospice thing, like when he died. And well, we moved in and it kind of felt kind of weird. I told my mom I kept on hearing noises, but she just said, "Oh, it's just the house that's settling."
Yeah.
But and then like as the weeks progressed after we moved in, one night she was like, "Hey, were you up last night?" And I was like, "No, why?" She's like, "I heard somebody running, like scurrying from the bathroom back into the living room from my room." Like she would hear like somebody walking. And like you know how you can tell when it's like a house settling but somebody actually walking at night?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what she heard a lot of. And like we just kept hearing it and we were just like, okay, maybe we're just like, we're just making stuff up in our head.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until like I guess like she did find out like, yeah, I guess somebody did die. And then there's this one night in particular where we had somebody over. It was my mom and my stepdad's friend. And we were going to watch the movie The Nun, and we were getting ready to go sit on the couch and watch it. And for some reason, I had this old toy sitting on the table. And as we were all standing in the living room, like getting our snacks and stuff, the TV all of a sudden turns off, and then like I turned towards like the table because my mom was like in the kitchen, and all of a sudden my toy, like the toy car, flew across the room.
Oh.
Yeah, and I just like stared, and everyone like got quiet and stared at the TV and stared at the toy on the ground.
Wow. That
Yeah,
would be a moment just like, you guys saw that, right?
yeah, I'm like, did you my toy? But yeah, and his name is Mr. Kim.
For
And
sure.
like, yeah, when I first moved in and we were sleeping, I would feel somebody like behind me, like if somebody was watching me, and in my room I would hear like steps. But yeah, now he's pretty chill. He doesn't really like mess with us. We always like make jokes, like when the trash can opens by itself, we say, "Oh, Mr. Kim wants us to clean up."
Probably just want to make himself known, like, hey, I'm here, you know?
Yeah.
So, hold on. Anyway, if that's it,
Yeah, that's it.
thank you for being here, Ari. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for being a guest.
Yeah, no problem.
Take care, okay?
You too.
All right, bye. It was my birthday, producer. Can I get a happy? Goddess Nix, happy late birthday. I hope you had an amazing day, and I hope tonight's an amazing night for you, okay? I hope this upcoming weekend is an amazing one for you, okay? So, happy late birthday. Kayleen, thank you. Happy late birthday, Goddess Nix. Happy late birthday. Lisa, thank you for the rose. I appreciate you. Dead Crow, let me check. Yes, it is still up. You'll be on after this next guest. V. Marie, you are up. Love you too, Goddess Nix.
Good evening.
Hello, thank you for being here. How old are you?
Yes, I am 5 and 7 and holding.
Thank you. Yeah, don't get offended. I have to ask as per TikTok standards. Just the way it is. I don't like it. So,
That's all right. Don't worry about it.
but that being said,
I
try
get carded for cigarettes anyway.
yeah, try not to cuss like FDFF here
Okay.
and there. It's not good to take down the live, and try not to get too fanatic.
Oh no.
religious.
Oh no.
So, that being said, it's all you.
All right. No problem. I did kind of like simple stories. Like one time, me and my youngest son had to go to Montana to pick my daughter up, my oldest daughter. And we started off in the evening time. And we were going from Denver, Colorado, all the way up to northern Montana, which is over in Poplar, Montana.
Yeah.
So I was going on a pretty long trip, and I was trying to make it there just in a short amount of time as I could. Well, we started out, and we made it to Wyoming, there's a junction that goes up north and it goes west. And I started going west and up north, and I had to turn back around and go back and, redirect myself. Anyhow, we got up. It was probably around, I'm going to say maybe 11-ish, 12-ish. We got up by the Montana, Wyoming border.
Yeah.
And I don't know if everybody knows this, but the reservations are right there at the borders. Well, there's a part of Wyoming as you enter into Montana that is kind of like, I don't know, dead. It's kind of, I don't know, it's like just hills, sand hills, more like. Anyway, while I was on the road, my son kept on saying, "Mom, did you see that? Mom, did you see that?" And I was like, "Oh, wow, what did you see?" I said, "Don't look out the side of the car at night, because we're always taught to not do that." And he goes, "Yeah," he goes, "but they keep showing up." And I was like, "What?" He said he was seeing this old car, like probably in the 1940s.
Yeah.
This old car and these people, and they were standing there by the car. Then we'd keep going, and then the next mile, he'd see him again. And while this was happening on this side, and I was driving, my son was telling me this, I was looking, I looked in my rear view mirror, and there was nobody on the highway, but pretty soon, here comes this car zooming around me. All right. I noticed what kind of car it was. It was kind of a smaller little 4-door sedan. Anyway, I kept driving and driving. While my son's seeing this stuff off the side of the road, I'm seeing this other stuff. There was this one, a car came back around us again. I think it went around us 4 times. I saw that car 4 times over. That was the freakiest thing I've ever seen. I was like, what the heck? Then my son goes, "Mom, wait. He says, "Don't go." He said, "Stop, something." And there was this whole herd of deer up on the side of this hill, or this kind of like a incline. And I was like, "What?" He goes, "Look, there's deer." And there were a bunch of deer standing right there. Man, I slowed down. And right when I slowed down, that car zoomed around me again. But it's really weird because I'm not a person to drive at night.
Yeah.
But what my thing is when you go like in an area where people have gotten in a lot of accidents and stuff, you're bound to see those because it just happens. There's no explanation for it. It just happens. But I have another story. One more. My dad is from the Navajo Nation. So he would get off work in his town where he worked at, and he'd go back to his mom's place. His mom's place was about maybe 2 hours south of where he worked. And he was telling me this story that he went and got off work on a Friday evening because he used to go back out there every weekend to help with the family. So he was headed out that way and down that way. And, my dad, he was a holy man. He's a medicine man. Every time that he went on the road or traveling, he'd always sing songs. And he was driving along. He was, singing his songs, drinking his soda. And he seen this kind of like a lady walking up on the right-hand side of the road. And she had a Navajo blanket on her. And so he pulls over to the side and he says, he told her in Navajo, he said, he opened up his window and he said, "Do you need a ride?" And she didn't really say anything to him. And he said, "Where are you going?" And he was talking Navajo this whole time to her. And she pointed ahead. And he says, "Well, get on in." And she opened the door and got in. So he sat there going, okay. So they started going again. And he was smoking a cigarette. And he offered her a smoke. And she said no. Then they kept going. And he was like, he started singing his songs again. My dad was just a musical person. And every time he started singing those travel songs, he'd kind of glance to the side. That woman would be gone. And then he was coming up. He would stop, and she would be sitting there. Well, he got up to the turnoff to where he was going to head up the mountain. So he told her, told her in Navajo, I gotta turn here. I'm going up a mountain. If you want to go, fine. If not, he goes, you have to get off here. And so he was just pulling up, and he was just talking because it was getting dark. And so he kind of pulled over like he was going to turn, but he, just right before that turn, he looked over there. That woman was gone. I don't know when, where, how, why, but this is also a factor to that story. That's the old 666 highway that used to run down in New Mexico, between New Mexico and Arizona. Well, the story doesn't stop there. He gets up to my Nolly's house, and she has supper, and then he goes to sleep, and then in the morning, the guys that work for my Nolly get up. They were there. They were in the main house drinking coffee, and my dad and they were talking, and there was a younger guy that worked for my Nolly's place. He was making it in too, but he said that he experienced the same thing because Daddy was telling him what was going on, but the same thing happened to him. Yeah. And I told this story to someone else, and they said, I heard that story before. And I was like, really? I said, yeah. I said, that happened to my dad. He actually picked up a spirit. And he goes, they go, oh my gosh. So these things are real. I mean, people can try to deny them all they want, but they're real, Either that or else we're all crazy. Anyway, those are my two stories. I really enjoy listening to what you have going on. It's pretty awesome.
For sure. Yeah.
I'll go ahead and check out your band too.
Oh, appreciate it. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
metal. I mean, if
yeah.
you haven't noticed, it's metal.
So you kids take care. And
Thank you,
all right.
Brittany.
All right, take care.
Take care, Marie. Brittany, thank you. I appreciate the roses. All right. Up next. Gosh, we have 9 guest requests. Jeez. All right. Joseph Moreno, you'll be next. Then it'll be Dead Crow. Wow, that's a lot. All right. Hi, Emilio. I see you there. Don't worry. I see you in the guest request. Kat, I see you too.
Hey, what's going on? Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. Yes. Joseph, thank you for
All
being
right.
here.
So get ready for a trip. I'm 44 years old,
Thank you.
and I will not talking about anything crazy as far as like religion. This has nothing to do with religion. Okay.
You know the rules. Go for it.
So my great grandmother was a very, very spiritual person, and she, I guess you want to call it in these days a medium, I guess. So she was always teaching me things without even realizing that I was learning something when I was a kid, and then she passed away when I was 14. Well, after she passed away, me and my sisters started noticing weird things. And it was like when she passed away, she had passed on her gifts to us. And from that moment on, when she passed away, do you know when you daydream and you were there and you can see and hear everything around you, but you're not there? Right? Like if you're sitting in class in school, you can hear everything around you, but you're not there. You're daydreaming.
Sure, yeah, go for it.
Okay.
I just think I just have a different kind of wired mind. Like I know people daydream, but I'm like, I don't think I really experienced that. But I'm also like, yeah, go for it, bro. I'm sorry.
Okay. So what ended up happening with me was anytime I could walk into a place where there has been a portal open or spiritual activity, and when I say a portal open, if anything traumatic has happened in someone's life where they've left so suddenly, a space has opened in that part of in our dimension, I would call it dimension or our plane of existence. It opens up something there where you can freely travel back and forth. And I was starting to able to where I wasn't asleep and I would be awake, but then I would be able to see myself like get up when I'm still laying down. And it wasn't like I can see with both my eyeballs in one direction, I'd be able to see everything at once. And I would be able to see all the spiritual around me. And the crazy thing was, even when I wasn't doing that, I would be anywhere. I could be like anywhere. That's something as, where there's like a spirit around, and I would see it. And I didn't know how to control it for a very long time, so I got scared and I kind of like denied what was happening. And I kind of just blocked it off for a long time. And then one day, I'm sitting at my brother's house. I'm from Texas. I'm in Houston, and I'm in Humble, which is in North Houston, like a little bit outside of Houston. I'm talking to my brother, and he had just gotten back from tour from Afghanistan, and we're sitting there shooting the stuff. And for some reason, he goes, "Hey, bro, like, what's wrong?" And he was shaking me, and I had been stuck. Like, I had just gotten stuck. Like, I was unresponsive, like catatonic almost. But I remember in that moment, I was like 7 years old again, sitting on my great-grandmother's rocking chair, talking to her. And she was sitting there telling me, she's like, "Hey, you need to prepare. You need to be ready. Tell your mama to be ready because it's going to happen." And I'm like, "What are you talking about, Granny? What are you talking about? What are you talking about?" And she was like, "Just tell your mom everything's going to be okay. He's going to wait for her." So the next day, I get up, I drive to the other side of Houston. It's a Sunday. I talk to mom, I tell her everything that my granny told her, which would be her mother. And I'm like, Granny said this, Granny said that. And at this time, I didn't know that my grandpa was not in remission anymore. He had liver and stomach cancer. And I thought that, from what I heard last, that he was in remission. But that night, that Sunday night, he went to the hospital. So my mom gets a phone call. She heads to the hospital first thing in the morning. She gets there, and my grandpa is laying there unresponsive, and he's about to go. She holds his hand, she's talking to him, and he goes, like he waited. And then I get a phone call from her saying, "Your grandpa's gone." And she goes, "How did you do? I don't believe what you told me." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "Grandpa's gone. You told me what my mom said, and I didn't believe you. And now I do." And she always never believed my stories. Like, never. Ever. She's just like, you're crazy. You're just, you have a big imagination.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not my imagination. Yeah. Because I astral plane. I leave myself.
Yeah.
I go forward, I go backwards, I stay in the present. It's one of those weird things that I can't explain. But, like, if you've ever had a dream, like if you're Peter Pan, like you just run and jump and then you just take off and you fly away. That's literally you leaving your body.
Astral projection, yeah.
That's not a dream. It's not a dream. It's you are leaving. You've gone somewhere. And then the crazy thing about this is, if you've ever had one of those dreams, and then later on down the line, you're there at that same moment that you were in your dream when you jumped and leaped in your dream, and when you landed, you were at a specific time in that dream, well, supposed dream. And then, like, maybe a year, 2 years later, you are in the exact place that your dream had taken you when you took flight 2 years prior.
Wow. Thank you, Goddess Nick.
And that's for me. That's how I don't way I can explain it to you, like how I experience things, because there's no such thing as death. Death is just like a human word. Nobody ever dies. It's not. It's just a word. It's a construct, a human construct. We don't die. We just transition.
What I'm getting is that everything's already happened.
Yep.
Even the next
it's already happened in the past,
yeah.
The present, and the future. It's already done. It's done. It's just one big cosmic joke. But the crazy thing is, everybody can do it if they really wanted to.
Yeah.
You just have to, like, open yourself up. And the fact that people think of, like, the spirits as ghosts, they're not ghosts. They're just in another place. That's something that we cannot fathom and understand, because when we leave this physical body, We have the infinite wisdom. We are connected to everything, to the next plane of existence. We're connected because we're no longer in a physical body with a physical brain that cannot comprehend all the wisdom and knowledge of everything else that surrounds us. That, you know what I'm saying?
In other words, enjoy life. Just enjoy life and what's gonna offer, because everything's already happened.
Exactly. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to trip y'all out. It was like crazy.
Hey, you're fine.
It
Hey,
was just.
forget the comments, bro. Forget the comments, man. Like, thank you for giving me.
Oh,
your
I
time,
wasn't
bro.
reading the comments.
Good.
I
I'm glad you weren't.
I'll read them. I'll go back and I'll read them. It's okay. But no, I mean, just like I grew up learning this stuff, and then when my grandmother passed away, it happened to me and my sister. My sister knows things before they happen.
Yeah.
Like she just knows. She'll call me and tell me this is what's gonna happen. I don't get that no more.
Yeah.
I just see spirits. So.
No, for sure, man.
But anyways,
Thank you for being here, Joseph.
yes, sir.
All right, man. You take care. Have a wonderful night.
You too.
All right, bye. All right. Up next, we have, jeez, 8 guests. All right. It'll be Cats, then Dead Crow, and then Dexter. But I see all 8 of you. Trust me. Oh boy. I'm gonna do my best to try to get through all of you. Trust me. All right. All right. Kat, you're next. Thank you, Lisa. Hi, Kat.
Hey,
Hi. Thank you for being here. How old are you?
I'm 22.
Perfect. Try not to cuss like FDFF. Don't want the AI taking my live down. And try not to get too fanatical. And thank you for being patient. It's all you.
Well, I think the lady talking about Native Americans, I think that was actually really interesting, and it kind of connects to what the men we had prior on the live say. So I'm Cherokee Nation, and I started having premonitions as a child through my dreams. And I remember, I thought it was kind of like abnormal, obviously, because the things I would hear in my dreams, I would hear the next day at school. And I kind of blew it off. It's like, maybe I just have a big imagination. Like I, kind of tried to reason with it. But one day my mom drove me to school, and I kind of just went for it. I basically said to myself, maybe I'm crazy. If I'm crazy, I'm crazy. If I'm not, my mom will see it happen.
Yeah.
And I said, this person is going to say this. And my mom and I watched it happen. So, not that you would, but if you could ask my mom, she could back me up on that. Let me think of another one. I saw my first spirit with her aura when I was in, I think, middle school. And it was of my first pet. So for me, I was adopted, and I was not really born into a great situation. So I can't emotionally connect with women.
Yeah.
But it turns out that's not the case for female animals. So when I was adopted, maybe around 5 or 6, I went to the shelter and I got a dog. So I love animals. I connect with animals better than probably people. So when I had gotten this dog, I named her Ginger. She was to me my first mother. She looked after me, she guarded me, she made sure I was safe, she defended me, she did all of that for me. And that was the first female anything that I connected with. She had gotten really sick when I reached, I think, middle school. And I didn't understand how sick. So my dad had told me, I'm going to take Ginger to the vet. And that night I had went to my grandmother's house to spend the night. The next day, about afternoon 11ish in the morning, I come home and I see Ginger under the table. Now, Ginger was not, she wouldn't look like how you'd see me if you were in front of me. How I'm, 3-dimensional?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she wasn't like that. She was flat like a piece of paper.
2-dimensional.
Yeah. And outlined in a deep, glowing blue.
Okay.
And I said, Dad, I thought you took Ginger to the vet, and he had told me that she had died last night.
Oh.
But it was actually a beautiful experience, and I skipped most of the grieving process. And that skyrocketed my interest in the paranormal. Like, I'm autistic, and I had a huge phase where all I would talk about was paranormal stuff. And I kind of finally found my answer that loved ones, pets or human or whatever, can say goodbye, come back to say goodbye if they didn't get the chance.
That's beautiful. Thank you for saying that. I needed to hear that.
Thank you for having me. It's my first TikTok live I've ever been on.
Cat-
Also, I'll check out your band. You look like you make cool music.
We just make metal music, nothing crazy.
You know what? I knew it.
Gee, what brought you to that conclusion?
For real, that's awesome. All right, well, thank you for having me.
You're always welcome here, Kat. Thank you for being here, and I'm giving you a follow too. Take
Thank
care.
you.
All right. Oh, jeez. Okay, and we're still at 8. Oh, 7 now. Thank goodness. Okay. Dead Crow, you are next. Oh, I see all of you there. Don't worry, I see you. Orale, next. Dead Crow, hey, thank you for being here. How old are you?
I'm 36, brother. Hey, can you hear me clearly?
Perfectly.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'm 36, man.
You already know the rules, right? You've been hearing it this long, right?
I've been hearing it, dude. I have one. I'm gonna tell you like the first story. I'm gonna try to sum it up like real quick. You know, I don't want to. You know, but I got 2 stories, dude. But there's one. The second story does have like a priest and the Ouija board involved. Is that something I can mention or?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Like all I ask is that there's no FDFF and just no fanaticism.
Yeah.
That's it. Like I don't care if
Yeah.
religion's involved. Just like not and then it's in the gospel of blah blah blah.
Yeah, no, I understand. I understand. So yeah, man. So long story short, man, when I was a kid, my dad had an older brother. I never met him. It was my uncle. I'm an '80s baby, but I had an uncle back in the '70s. It was his older brother. He was kind of like this is like deep Mexico, like Guadalajara, man.
Yeah.
But it was like out in the sticks. It's called Barrancas de Lores. It's like a small village, right? So out there, they my uncle was messing around with this woman, and it was her mother was a witch doctor.
Yeah.
Like bruja, like straight witch, And she warned my uncle, hey, stay away from my daughter. Stay away from my daughter. But he wouldn't listen, So he continued on with the relationship with her. Well, she warned him plenty of times, and long story short, she put a curse on him. And I don't know, like my grandfather had told my cousin about it, and my dad didn't really talk too much about it. But my cousin told me the full story, like not even a couple months ago. But I guess he got real ill, right? And they were trying to say it was leukemia, but he was going through like he was seeing demons and he was seeing all kinds of stuff, man. It's crazy. But I guess when he got real ill, my dad remembers all this stuff too. But my dad's passed away a long time ago as well. But I remember my dad would talk about it. But I guess he was feeling like a burning, like he felt like he was on fire. And the night before he passed away, the witch, the lady's mom, appeared. And it gives me chills talking about it because it's kind of like I believe it. I believe deep down in deep Mexico, I hear all kinds of crazy stuff, But I guess it was the witch doctor. She showed up in a bird, like a bird's image, dude. But it appeared and it was saying in Spanish, "Oh, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine." And it whispered. And then my grandfather came out and saw the bird, grabbed his shotgun and shot at it, but the bird flew away. But it had a human body, but it had wings and it flew away. But it was the witch that put the curse on him. But long story short, he ended up passing away the next day. But the night he was dying, and like he was just in agony, screaming, saying he was burning and he was on fire. But that's one story right there, man. It gives me chills. Like as you get older, when you're a kid hearing this, as you get older, you start hearing the truth. Like family members start, telling you what happened and stuff like that. But yeah, man, he died in pain and stuff like that. So it's I really wish I met him. He seemed like a good dude. But yeah, man, there's another story too, man. Like I said, I was probably 4 years old, but I remember like it was yesterday. It was me and my older brother. My older brother was like 10 at the time, but it was like back in 92, 93. Me and my brother were playing outside, and long story short, man, it's weird because there's so much to this story that I wish I could say, because I know it'll be long if I gave it too much detail. But long story short, man, my mom later, like 20 years down the road, ended up admitting that she played the Ouija board, and this is why all this stuff happened. So my brother he's back in the day, was just, he had all kinds of crazy horror stuff going on, and but my brother said, hey man, would you come upstairs with me? I'm scared. And the night before that, my brother had seen a man because we were poor back then, dude. There was 4 brothers and I had 1 sister, but we had this one bed that we slept on, and it was in the corner of the room. My brother said that he saw a tall man, and I'm starting to think it's the Hat Man. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out who this demon is, but because I've been trying to Google him, and it pops up as the Hat Man. But my brother said it was a shadow, but you can see the shadow. It was a big black shadow. It was tall, and he had like an Abraham's Lincoln hat, and it was just looking around the room. This was the night prior, and hey, I'm sorry, that's my daughter, dude. Hey, it's okay. But anyway, yeah, it's okay, Mama. It's okay. I'm sorry about that, man. But shh. Anyway, yeah, so that happens. He sees him, and when you're a little kid, you just throw the blanket over your face, and you just start praying and hoping it rolls away. It's okay. It's okay. But yeah, man. The next morning, my brother asks me to come upstairs. Hold on, Hazel. It's okay, Mama. Shh. Anyway, I go upstairs with my brother, and we lived in a 2-story condo house, and as soon as my brother, he's ahead of me, as soon as he turns to look up the steps, he starts I don't know if you ever see somebody get so scared and they get their breath taken away, and you just see them go pale like a ghost.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I saw, and I remember, dude. I was 4 years old, but I still remember like yesterday. And I remember looking at my brother. I look up, dude. I don't see anything. I did not see a damn thing, right?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, I see a broom fly at my brother. It hits my brother right in the back, and he's stuck like a ghost. I run downstairs, and by the time I ran downstairs, before I even ran downstairs, my brother said he saw the demon run inside the bathroom, grab a cup, and he was quick. It was just like 2 seconds, and then threw it right at my head. And so that happened. My mom ended up calling the cops. When my brother identified the demon, he said that the demon was like a tall guy. It was a very tall dude. He had the Abraham's Lincoln, but he was able to see his face. And he said the face was kind of like a dog's face, but it had these necklaces on him, and it was mean. It was growling on him. He had yellow eyes and stuff like that. And I wish my brother could tell the story, but to this day he won't talk about it. But he told us as kids and stuff like that. But when I had talked to my mom, maybe a couple weeks ago about it, I started hearing the truth about everything.
Uh-huh.
And long story short, I'm going to try to make this one short as well. My mom ended up going to a what are they called? The witch doctors, the good ones or something like that.
Yeah.
And she gets her cards read. I guess somebody put a curse on her. And after she had played the Ouija board, she had all this stuff going on. So my dad hired this priest and so we lived in Southern California at the time. And we went to Bakersfield, right? So they can do the what do they call it, where they clean the house and stuff like that?
Oh,
so
yeah.
they clean the house.
Cleansing,
They do a cleansing. Yeah, there you go. They did a cleansing. Dude, when we got back to our house, I swear to God, nothing was stolen. Our house was flipped upside down. Drawers were thrown. I mean, it was a mess. Thousands and thousands of dead cockroaches were all over the floor. All I remember seeing was my dad just sweeping up all kinds of roaches, dude. And I don't even know where they came from. We didn't have roaches at the time, so I don't know. But nothing was stolen. I don't know. It was just, just a little crazy experience that I experienced. I've never seen the guy, but, to this day, it kind of gives me the chills. And I definitely believe that, I just want to know what it was, and then, I don't know if anybody has experienced that type of, ghost or anything. I think it was a demon, but yeah, man, that's pretty much it. But I really want to thank you for, letting me tell my story, man. And, I appreciate it.
No, for sure, man. Thank you for being here, dude. I appreciate you. Yeah, you have a wonderful night, and thank you again.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Take care. All right, let's see. Oh, jeez. All right, guys. I will be honest. I probably have time for about two more, because Samael's getting tired. Not gonna lie, and I want to give you guys all my attention, but it's not fair to just be tuned out if you guys are telling your story. That's just me, though. All right, just luck of the draw. Loki Doki, you're next.
Hello.
Hey, I know you've been here before. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Just
Good.
just tired. Just very tired right now. I uploaded a video earlier today, and that beat me up. But yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, you know the rules. Carry on.
Okay. Mine's not really a scary one. Mine's more like this one was a family member. And, I had been crying for like hours on end because I thought my dad passed. He did not. He was just going through some things and rehab and kind of hid away. And I take signs like that very serious. So when I hear somebody call me a nickname that he used to call me over a spirit box, I started crying. Yeah. And later that night, I was in my room bawling my eyes out. And there's this song from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Not Charlie, Willy Wonka. It's Part of Your Imagination.
And
Yeah,
you'll see.
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I went upstairs because my grandparents were watching a movie, and I was like, "Oh, were you guys watching Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory?" They're like, "No." I was like, was there like a commercial that was playing that song?" And they were like, "No." Well, my aunt, my grandmother had a miscarriage,
Oh.
and I used to see her quite frequently as a kid. She'd scare me because she looked like the Grudge and would show up as the Grudge. And I mean, the first time I saw her, she showed up in a window between two different bookshelves, and I'll just see a woman standing behind me with her hair in her base. And first thing I think of, especially after seeing the movie, is The Grudge. So I was like, "Oh, cool." So it was just probably my aunt telling me, "Hey, like, he's not dead. He's fucking alive."
I love it. Well, if that's it,
That is it.
thank you for being here, Loki Doki.
No
Welcome
problem.
back. I appreciate you being here. Take care.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. All right. The lucky last person will be Dexter Morgan.
Okay, I know the rules.
How old are you,
I'm not
real
sh-
quick?
Oh, 20. Sorry.
Perfect. All right, man. Go for it.
Oof. I'm not entirely sure if this one's paranormal. Well, I know one of them is, but they both take place in my grandma's house. So, ever since she retired, she's been taking a lot of vacations. So every now and then I'll house sit for her. And she's lived in this house for about 15 years now. And her old manager, because she's always lived in Ottawa, Kansas, her whole life. And one of her old managers, who previously owned the house that she lives in now, he was always a heavy smoker.
Yeah.
And my grandma hated that. She cannot stand smoking. She has too many respiratory issues. That thought never crosses her mind. So I'm house sitting for her, and as a kid, she used to tell me about him and how he passed away. And he was always like a really heavy smoker. And she told me when they found him, there was a cigarette burn on his wrist because he died with a cigarette in his mouth, and it fell out. So I'm house sitting for her, and I'm in the spare bedroom, and I don't tend to have very vivid dreams. My dreams are never that vivid. Like, I'll remember snippets of it sometimes, like throughout the day, but like this one was too vivid. So I'm just like, I'm in this recliner, and like my skin is wrinkly and I'm old.
Yeah.
And I'm smoking a cigarette in a red robe. And I can't see, like, there's nothing around me. It's just empty. It's just a black void. And I'm just in this recliner smoking a cigarette. And I drop it, and before I can even think about anything after I drop it, I wake up, and the house just reeks of cigarette smoke. Like, and then I get up because I'm like, did someone break in? Because, like,
Yeah.
I don't smoke. My grandma doesn't smoke. And I walk out, and, like, I'm walking around the house, and it's just getting stronger and stronger as I walk into the living room. And there's not even any, like, no matches, no lighters. There's not even any, like, visible smoke in the room, which if the way it smelled, there most definitely should have been, because my eyes were starting to, like, get watery from it. So I go outside to, like, catch my breath, and I call my grandma. I'm like, have you been smoking? And she's like, no. And I'm like, the house reeks. And she's like, oh. And she says, oh, it does that. It does that every now and then. And she thinks that it's him.
Uh-huh.
She thinks that, like, every now and then. And I'm like, well, where did he die? And she's like, oh, they found him in the living room. And I was like, oh, that's where it smells the strongest. And she's like, oh, that's probably why. But the second time I'm house sitting for her, she bought this, like, electric moon, and, like, it spins around and lights up when it's plugged in, and, like, the top comes off, and so you can see, like, a little light bulb. There's no battery in there. The only form of, like, energy, like, the power it gets is just straight from the cord. So if it's not plugged in, there's no electricity going through it at all. And it was put up while I was out, and I just hear, like, this servo, like, spinning, like this just, like, motorized spinning sound, and I'm like trying to look for it, and I open the closet, and it's just sitting there, and it's spinning, and it's on, and I pick it up. It's unplugged. There's no outlet in that closet, and I take off the top, and the light bulb's broken, but it's still on. I don't even think that's possible, but it was on. And, like, the bottom half was still spinning. So I put it down, and I'm just, like, trying to catch my breath for a second. And I'm just, like, making sure there's no, like, battery in there or anything that can conserve power. There wasn't. And it kept going. And I just sat it on the coffee table for, like, 30 minutes, and I'm just looking at it in complete disbelief. And it didn't stop at all. And I call her again, and she's like, oh, yeah, you can throw it out. I didn't just throw it out. I destroyed that thing. I was not taking any chances with it. That was just too surreal for me, especially after the cigarette smoke experience. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you've had a long night. I appreciate you for having me on here.
Of course, Dexter. Thank you for being here.
No problem. You have a great night.
You too.
I'll check out your music.
Thank you. We're on Spotify, all stream platforms. Take care.
All right. Check it out.
All right. You know what? Kayleen, you guys have all been patient, but I'll give you a chance.
Hello.
Hi, Kayleen.
Can you-
Thank you for being patient.
Oh, no problem.
How old are you?
Oh, yes. I'm 38.
Perfect. You know the rules.
Yes. Mine's gonna be really short.
Go for it.
I grew up in the Philippines, the northern part of the Philippines. So in the 90s, it was pretty much very provincial at the time. You think about, rice fields, but I did live in kind of like a city place. Anyway, I went to Catholic school, so if I can mention religion, if that's okay.
Yeah, just not too Not too fanatic.
Oh yeah, no, nothing like that.
Yeah, that's fine.
So third grade, the dates are kind of off, but I'm gonna try my best because I don't want to, take much of your time. In 1996, I think a comet was. We were in class, and I don't know if it's a Halley's Comet that was gonna pass. I'm not sure if there was either a comet or an eclipse. So anyway, the girls, because I went to an all-girls school in elementary school, we, in third grade, we were joking that, hey, let's play Spirit of the Glass because apparently something happens. That's not really the point. We were just messing around. Has nothing to do with that. In my circle of girls that I probably had 5. They're still alive, and we still talk on Facebook if they do remember this. I live in California now, by the way, if that makes sense. So that's why I mentioned that. Someone says, hey, I have a story to tell you, but it happened last year, but no one really knew about it. It happened with the seniors because we were, like I said, we're in third grade. And you can hear me right, okay?
Yeah.
Yes. One of we had a choir, the girls had a choir, and one of the girls noticed that their teacher, the music teacher at the time, while she was conducting music, people have shadows.
Yeah.
And one of the girls in the higher classes says, oh, let's say a Filipino last name is Santos. They said, Mrs. Santos doesn't have her shadow, her head's not showing. Isn't that weird? So the girls, so they're telling me this story, and I'm like, what's so weird about that? Well, everyone has a full shadow, Callie. And what happened was they told me at the time, they said that she passed away.
Oh.
This woman passed away. Yeah. So the girls, the fourth year, we call them seniors or fourth year students. Anyway, and the girls were like, "Oh my gosh, that's so weird. Do you think something happened to her?" Mm-hmm. And obviously, girls talk. Everyone is a chismosa, That November 1st, a student went every November 1st. We go to the cemeteries. It's kind of like Dia de los Muertos, like we call it All Souls Day in the Philippines, and we go visit the cemeteries and stuff like that. It's like a whole weekend. No one goes to school, and apparently, one of the girls that rode in a public transportation to go to the cemetery, one of her friends said, "I can't see. You know what? Your shadow. We can't see your head." And she goes, "Stop it." She goes, "No, we can't." And you know what happened to Mrs. Santos, right? Laugh, laugh. Well, guess what? I guess apparently this girl that rode in the public transportation passed away.
Oh.
So there were two instances where there were rumors, because it's Catholic school, and there were 2 instances where apparently if you do not see your full shadow, there's a foreshadowing of your death.
Yeah.
That was like one of the big rumors back in the day. Can't prove that. But apparently that happened. And yes, a teacher did die of cancer like 5 months later. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's, so we talked about that. And then there was one instance too where we were talking about this school in the Haya province in the mountains where these 2 girls, and I think a cable news channel went to go investigate them, and it probably is on YouTube, but not the same location. Mm-hmm. There were 2 girls rumored to be speaking in Latin and speaking in tongues, speaking in really poor rural area of the town.
Yeah.
And they were apparently they couldn't get people didn't really know what was going on with them. Obviously, we know now. They needed an exorcist.
Yeah, right.
But it was so people were like, something's happening to these girls. The devil has gone into them. People were like, nah, they're just acting up. But if you think about it, no one speaks Latin in that part of the Philippines. We don't even have Latin Mass. And a lot of people are Catholic there. How can 2 girls who live in a really rural area know Latin? That doesn't make sense. So people were educated, people were investigating this. And I don't know what happened to those girls, but I guess it happens quite a lot. Until one day, another school down south of the country, a lot of girl students were speaking in Latin too. So anyway, that's my story. A lot of weird stuff that goes on. It's a lot of superstition, but it stayed on with me for years. If you don't see a full shadow in a person, they'll die. I don't. It's freaky, but I just kind of need to. This is my first live, and I just, I just wanted to share that because that stuck with me through the years. Anyway, that's my Catholic ghost story of the night. Thank you for having me.
Of course, Kayleen. Thank you for being here, and you have a wonderful night.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take care. All right. All right, guys. I'm gonna conclude the live right here. Thank you all for being here. I will be on next week, Wednesday. I was on yesterday because I was under the assumption that we are gonna have band practice today, and it got canceled. So I'm like, you know what? Why not? So, those of you that stick around to the end know I always conclude with these two messages. Of course, Goddess Nix, thank you for being here. Sean, thank you for being here. Jessica, thank you for being here. Bella, yes. Wendy, yes. Kayleen, of course, yes. Scarlet Scorpio, thank you again for being here, really. Anyway, first message is, if you're going through a mental health crisis, please contact the hotline right here. Thank you, Kayleen. The reason why I have that is because when I first started doing TikTok lives before they were ghost story oriented, I actually had a follower DM and call me, and she was on the edge of doing this to herself. And she's with us, thankfully, still. Good. She's with us, but I had to tell her, look, these people can help her here. I'm not professionally equipped to handle something like this. And these people can offer you resources as well as an ear to talk to. So I've contacted them in the past when I was going through my own stuff. And I'm telling you guys, they're probably the sweetest people you'll ever talk to. Like, the cool thing about it is they're not there to judge you, not there to label you, not diagnose you, anything like that. No, they're just there to hear you out. Their job is to make sure you make it through the night and that you keep your feet on the ground. So yeah, another thing too, it doesn't have to be like an extreme case either. It could just be a bad day, just a really bad day. You left the house, woke up on the wrong side of the bed, driver gave you the bird, argument with your partner, coworker. Give them a call. Talk. It's okay to talk. It's okay to be upset too. It's okay to be mad. It's okay to be happy. It's okay to cry. It really is. We're only human, all right? There are times when we're up here, but then just out of nowhere, we don't even know why. We're just down there. And down there, it's okay to show your feelings. It is. We're only human. None of us are Superman or Supergirl, you know? So, Superwoman, excuse me. But yes, guys, if you're going through a mental health crisis, please contact them. The number's still working. Google it. It's still there. Thank you, Goddess Nix. Thank you. Thank you. My final message, and I say this at the end of every show my band finishes. Break the chains that bind you. Keep moving forward in life, even if it's just baby steps. Look at yourself in the mirror and be proud of how far you made it, and show yourself the love for it. You owe it to you to not let the thoughts win. Live with conviction, and remember, it can't rain all the time. Thank you guys all so much for being here. Thank you to all the regulars that show up. Oh my God. So much is going on. Love you too, Goddess Nix. Yes, racing thoughts. Oh my God. But yeah, just a lot's going on, guys. A lot of good stuff happening with the band. And yeah. Sending all this good energy to you guys, because we all need it during these times, all right? Love you guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. Have a wonderful night. Till next time. Oh, one more thing too. If you have a story you want me to narrate, that you want me to make a whole TikTok video off of, DM it to me. and I'll get started ASAP. If you want to check out the quality, look at my videos, my recent ones too. I got 8 videos done so far, and I love doing this. It feels like it's my way of giving back. It's free. Take care, guys. Good night.